grade. We got ourselves a little bit of work to do. We're going to do a little bit of mathematics. I believe it's Wednesday. Everybody's happy. At least I am. I'm going to present my screen. You're going to grab some note paper. On top of that note paper, you are going to write percents because we are just going to have ourselves a high, ho, mighty percent time. Hopefully we'll end up learning something, enjoying something, doing something fun and exciting here. So here we go. Let's write this up here. Percents. Percents. And the little subheading under percents is with equations. Equations and story problems and all that sort of gobbledygook. And really, I guess we might just start off with a problem here. 32 ounces is 25% of a gallon. Let's write that down here. Here's an example. Example. 32 ounces is 25% of a gallon. Oof. How many ounces is a gallon? How many ounces is a gallon? I am going to show you a couple ways to think about this, and really, you can be your own boss on this. It's up to you how you do it. One way is we made percent boxes. Let's look at how this would look in a percent box. Sometimes I wish I could draw a better box than that, but apparently my handwriting is a little bit off. Okay. Remember when we did percent boxes, this first one was percent, and we always had, we're not really comparing anything here. We're splitting it into something into two parts, and we get, I guess you could call part one, part two, and the total. The one thing we always know is that the total percent is always 100%. Okay, that's a given. What are we cutting things into? We have ounces here. We know that 32 ounces is 25%. Okay, 32 ounces is 25%. And what we want to know, how many ounces is a whole gallon? So I really don't need to know this, although I know this would have been 75%, whatever, but that's not really part of what I need to know, so I can kind of ignore it. And I can make my fractions out of what I have left. 25 over 100 equals 32 over what number? Now, hopefully you can see this. The easiest way to go about doing this, because step number one is you always look to see what times 25 gives me 32, and that doesn't work out, 25 times whatever. But hopefully you can see that this fraction here could be reduced. And 25 over 100 is 1/4. And I could change that into 1/4 and then say 1/4 equals 32 over what number? And then it does work out, because you just go 1 times 32 gives me 32. So 4 times 32 would give me my answer there. 32 times 4 is 128 ounces, which would be my answer there. Now, that's option number one. Option number two, I'm going to rewrite this little phrase right here, because sometimes if you're up with what's going on here in life, it's easier just to make an equation out of this. Okay, it's easier to make an equation out of it, which is really easy because we have some English words that translate into mathematical symbols. In other words, the word is the same as equal to, and the word of is the mathematical multiplication thing. So if I put my numbers in where they go, 32 is 25% times a gallon, and that's what I wanted to know, what a gallon is there. So there's my equation. A lot of times we put this part on the left side, so I'm just going to flip it around. 25% times what number is 32? Now, the unfortunate thing is this, ladies and gentlemen, when we do math, we don't deal well with percentages, so we want to change them either into decimals or fractions. And in this case here, you know, personally, I would change it to a fraction. 1/4 times what number is 32? If you go back in your notes and look at how to solve equations that have fractions in front of them, the rule is to, I'll pause so you can interject your thoughts, flip and multiply. In other words, I multiply both sides by 1/4 flipped over, because that makes this all cross off because they're identical. And you just end up with 32 times 4, which, as we did before, is that 128, which is what my answer was for that. Which was my answer is that. Let's see if there's a different one here. I'm going to find one here. How about this one? Another example. Let's go to a different page. I thought I did this a little bigger, but maybe I didn't. Write down this example. Blanca. Nah, I didn't want to do that. Sorry. Give me a chance to get back here. There we go. Blanca, which really means blanc. Blanca answered 23 of the 25 questions. Correctly. What percent did she answer correctly? What percent correct? All right, so again, if it was me, boom, percent boxes. Maybe I'll go back to making this big percent box. Here's my percents, which I don't know, but this time I'm comparing correct and incorrect in total. Okay, she answered correctly. This is the actual numbers. 23 of the total 25 correct. I don't know what her percent is, but I do know that the total percent is 100, and this is going to be, should be pretty simple for you. You make the n over 100. You don't need the incorrect. It doesn't ask us anything about the incorrect. That equals 23 over 25. And then quite simply and pretty easily, to go from 25 to 100, you multiply by 4. So if you multiply 23 by 4, you are going to get 92, and that's your percent. 92%. That would be the thing. That probably is going to be about it as far as that goes. Sometimes this takes just a little bit of getting used to. I will tell you, sometimes, like I'm looking in the book here, if ever you see those goofy percentages, if you see like 33 1/3% and you see 16 2/3%, when those sort of things happen, you have to recognize right off the bat that at some point, okay, you are going to have to make this into a fraction. The equivalent fraction of that is 1/3. If you look in your fraction circle pieces, you would have that from last year, or that reference sheet. Same thing with this. If you 16 2/3% right away, you should be thinking, oh, I'm going to have to change something to 1/6 at some point, because some percentages just don't translate into decimals very easily. And that would just be the deal. So hopefully 7th grade, that helps you out a little bit here. We're going to wrap this up here. Thanks for listening. Signing off.